はい。
Welcome to episode 18, also known as the episode I never intended of Yuzuru Hanyu is my emergency contact, the FanyuFanme podcast. Before July 19th, I had planned on wrapping up season 1 and waiting to kick off season 2 with all of the glorious anticipation of the new Grand Prix season. Because despite knowing nothing was official, I was getting vibes that Yuzu was going to compete. This is why I don't gamble. Unless you count buying a Skate Canada ticket, of which I might have done. It's okay. I keep telling myself the ticket cost was just the severance pay for a certain figure skating union Yuzu fired on July 19th, and that totally makes it worth it. When I thought about ending season 1, I realized, if you include the bonuses, that I had released 27 episodes. And I thought, one season? 27 episodes. 1, 2, 7. It is meant to be. I think you're with me on the meaning of those numbers. If you're not, maybe it will help for me to say 12-7. Or December 7th. Or simply, come on, it's Yuzu's birthday. But then, things happened. And as I started receiving messages asking FanyuFanme's thoughts, my personal favorite being from the Fanyu who wanted to know what my boyfriend has been doing since his July 19th announcement. Thanks for putting that much-needed silly grin on my face, Fanyu. I realized we needed to talk again sooner. So here we are, 1, 2, and 8 for episode 18, which will officially be the end of Yuzuru Hanyu is my emergency contact, the FanyuFanme podcast.
Let me correct you.
For season 1. Because FanyuFanme isn't going anywhere. Well, until I book my reservations for the Yuzu World Tour. But before we get in line to buy our tour t-shirts, I still want one from Continues with Wings. Let's gather in the press conference kiss and cry to appreciate Yuzu's free, from the ISU, program. During the Beijing Olympics, I wrote a post with every intention of publishing it at that time. Upon its completion, I realized I had unintentionally written my response to how I envisioned Yuzu's retirement announcement would go. I knew this because when I finished reading it, I burst into tears. So I chose to save it for that fateful day. But when that time came, as usual, Yuzu went Yuzu's way, and my commentary failed to capture the essence of his determination and refusal to use the word retirement. But this Olympics moment and the sentiment expressed in this post have stayed with me every day as I waited for, feared, and imagined this announcement. It will always be a beautifully profound Yuzu moment, which I believe should never be forgotten. And as I processed what actually occurred on July 19th, 2022, I chose to finally release this post, which was written for a much sadder announcement. I hope these words and Yuzu's eyes healed any uneasiness that lingered in your Fanyu hearts. And if you're not yet nodding to Yuzu, hopefully this will help to get you there.
せーの。
Yuzu's eyes heal our hearts in 6 seconds. By now, we've all seen Yuzu's absolutely heart-wrenching interview with Shuzo-san after the free skate at the Beijing Winter Olympics. But I want to ask you, have you seen the whole thing? And when I say the whole thing, I mean the most devastatingly beautiful wordless exchange between two humans with such respect for each other that the mere look from one is enough to break your heart for the rest of your life. Let me explain. Many versions of this interview have had seconds edited out to keep things moving, because it is assumed that we all have an attention span of 1.4 seconds. But After watching this interview over and over, despite it always making me cry, I happened upon a version that someone had mercifully decided not to let fall prey to faster is better syndrome. And they left in the 6 seconds, 6, once Yuzu turned back to face Shuzo-san after momentarily succumbing to tears. He looks to Shuzo-san, awaiting the question, but Shuzo-san says nothing. And then, the look Yuzu gives him, his tearful eyes trying to smile as he nods again to proceed, says thousands of things in 6 seconds. It says, Daijoubu. I know you don't want to upset me. I know you feel bad moving on. We've been through a lot. I know you care. It's okay. I knew Yuzu would give us glimmers of the unexpected during the Beijing Olympics. Yuzu using the word unlucky to describe something that would cause anyone else to swear. Yuzu bowing to the volunteers. Yuzu disinfecting his hair. But it wasn't just at the Olympics. It's every time Yuzu is present. It isn't about the GOE, or the score, or the landing. It's about Yuzu being Yuzu. The tiny things he does that reveal who he is and beams his soul for all to see. And it's these 6 seconds which have become, without a doubt, the complete summation of Yuzu for me. Because Yuzu is always healing us. It was the same at Worlds 2021. Yuzu was the one struggling, and yet, when it came time for the gala, he skated so beautifully to Hanawa-saku, lifting a flower and our hearts to make us feel better. After an Olympics that had clearly been torturous for him, he did it again. Barely given a minute to gather his thoughts after grab your bag of ice and get out of a medalist chair, 4th place skater, he was thrown to the media wolves, we don't mean you, Shuzo-san, and expected to answer question after question, all while suffering what must have been an emotional dagger in his heart and a physical dagger in his ankle. I don't know what more can possibly be asked of him, but I am certain that whatever it will be, he will conquer it with brave, kind eyes. And now, it's our turn. Our turn to gather ourselves after the tears to give him the same heartfelt nod that says, Daijoubu. We know you don't want to upset us. We know you feel bad moving on. We've been through a lot. We know you care. It's okay.
完成です。
After Yuzu's announcement, I tried explaining to my friends who are not in the figure skating Hydroblade circle exactly what had transpired and what it meant for the future of Yuzu. Similar to after Beijing, I started receiving condolences for who my friends refer to as my figure skater. I'll take it. What this showed me, though, was how difficult it is to convince people that this is a good thing and that Professional Athlete Yuzu is going to blow our minds. All I could think about was how frustrating it must be for Yuzu, because clearly not everyone is getting it. No wonder Yuzu wanted to explain it to us himself. Hours of practice the night before in his hotel room, and probably months of thought and care before that, to choose the perfect words and the perfect delivery, and still, headlines proclaimed his retirement. I half expected to see a headline reading, Yuzuru Hanyu announces he doesn't want to use the word retirement upon retiring at his retirement press conference. I can think of which media outlet might have used that for their scoop. Yeah, we all know who you are, and we do not like you. But what I really wanted to simply tell my friends was, Yuzu's got this. Because I know Yuzu will take care of us. And now, he can do it while taking care of himself, too. And that is a victory for all of us. It's no surprise that the first thing Yuzu did after officially leaving competitions was to win. And his prize was the most appropriate award he has ever won. The entire sport. So omedetou gozaimasu, Yuzu, for claiming what has always been rightfully yours. No wonder you look so happy.
せーの。
Even Yuzu didn't cry. We thought it could happen after Pyeongchang. We thought it would happen after Beijing. I thought it might even happen right in the middle of the Fantasy on Ice Notre Dame de Paris encore. I'm not sure anyone had suspected Yuzu's statement of determination would come on July 19th, 2022. But suddenly, a date that meant nothing to any of us became a day that would mean everything to all of us. At 4 a.m. on July 19th, I sat on the floor in front of my TV. As the press conference proceeded, I found myself gradually scooting closer and closer to the TV, a wordless gesture of, "Please don't leave us!" I wanted to jump through the screen and hug Yuzu to comfort him in his life-changing moment. And probably also comfort me too. Skoshi. And then, it was July 20th. And then July 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and we were all still processing. For Yuzu, I wish I could say I was brave from the very first moment, but that would be a lie. I knew I needed to jump, facing forward, into what had happened, but I put it off for days, and the world felt empty. Yes, Yuzu knew exactly how we would feel. I was scared to start exploring my emotions. Writing about Yuzuru Hanyu, or LGC hair, or masquerade dark corners is one thing. Funneling my thoughts into supportive and profound epiphanies of optimism when sometimes I just wanted to cry, "Oh my God, we've lost Yuzu!" was something else entirely. Kokoro ga boro boro ni nata. But then I had a thought. Even Yuzu didn't cry. Given his propensity, there's another word I won't know in Japanese until Pimsleur Disc 84, to wear his heart and sometimes his tears on his sleeve, the fact that Yuzu seemed beyond okay with what he was announcing brought me comfort and courage. I had always imagined that when this day came, no amount of professionalism, an armored heart, or a practiced statement would prevent him from ending up as a Yuzu puddle. But he smiled. And he laughed. And the smiles and the laughs started coming more easily. He even sprinkled in the nose scrunch. And if Yuzu is this happy, it must be okay. I was never mad. I was never betrayed. I was never distraught. Okay, maybe Skoshi. But I felt things. And I know the other Fanyus did too. We are Fanyus because we care. One of the many reasons we are drawn to Yuzu is because we see his level of care reflected in us. He wants to give every moment justice. So do we. He wants to express everything perfectly. So do we. He wants to create beautiful and meaningful things, and we want to create beautiful and meaningful things to support beautiful and meaningful Yuzu. Yuzu touches our hearts because we have them. So to all those Fanyus who felt guilty about everything going on in their hearts on July 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, I want to say this. You can trust Yuzu, but still be uneasy. You can look forward to the future, but still miss the past. You can be happy for Yuzu, but still be sad. You can feel things, but still be a Fanyu. And Yuzu knows that, because here is the really crazy thing. Yuzu was worried about us. Allow yourself a moment to give that thought the warm fuzzy it deserves. With everything he was facing, Yuzuru Hanyu was worried about you, Fanyu. Yes, you! And all the other Fanyu Yus. And that is about as much as one Fanyu heart can handle. Which could be why I just momentarily turned into Dr. Seuss. Yuzu has said himself that the words of support have helped him. I think the Fanyus are a large part of the reason Yuzu is looking happier and happier. The more we support him, the more we are okay, the lighter he feels about making this decision. This decision he knew he had to allow himself to make. I'm sure despite not being a Yuzu puddle on July 19th, he has had his moments of doubt, nostalgia, and propensity tears. I can't even imagine the conversations he had with Pooh-san. In person with Stunt Pooh-san, and via FaceTime with Toronto Dweller Original Pooh-san. But we have shown him that this announcement has evolved from refused and dreaded to embraced and celebrated. And as time has passed, we've become less worried about if we will see Yuzu again, and more worried if he will be wearing his UA training outfit when we do. Fanyu priorities. I love the Twitter requests begging for this to still be a thing. And yes, Yuzu, it is a thing. But UA withdrawal is not the only concern. Some Fanyus are already missing the intro we know and love.
Representing Japan, Yuzuru Hanyu.
I think when Yuzu is introduced from now on, even if it's just when he walks into McDonald's, it should be representing everything that ever made figure skating meaningful, Yuzuru Hanyu. Would you like fries with that? Because when Yuzu stood up from that press conference table on July 19th and walked off the stage, figure skating walked off with him. There was no question in that custody battle. Figure skating said, I want to go live with him. I'm thrilled that Yuzu has finally stated quite openly, in the most tactful Yuzu way, that he was being screwed. Let's face it, the only person skilled enough at figure skating to evaluate Yuzuru Hanyu's figure skating is Yuzuru Hanyu. As if that wasn't already obvious enough, did you see Yuzu's explanation of his Beijing quad axel during the Endless Challenge special? It started casually, but quickly escalated into a Yuzu dissertation. He went to another place, and even the fellow figure skaters on the set looked a little stunned. Full disclosure, Yuzu wasn't the only one who went to another place during this masterclass. I did as well. But my other place was a dimly lit corner, because Yuzu unleashing his mind-boggling brilliance and demonstrating his quad axel while wearing a suit of which all pieces have already sold out, and dress shoes was something else. I have since deemed it the quad handsome. Arigato, Yuzu! There's the first dark corner of your new stage. That didn't take long. Yuzu's new stage as a professional athlete means we have entered a new stage as well, the Professional Fanyu, and we are ready to bring it. We have been training for this for years, though I'm certain we don't look as good in our training outfits as Yuzu does in his. We knew our assignment was coming, we just weren't sure when it would be announced. Should I throw a little shade at the ISU? Nah, they're dead. But then Yuzu woke up one morning and realized, I'm frickin' Yuzuru Hanyu! I can do whatever the heck I want. And it was time to pack our Pooh-sans. Yuzu has never done anything like anyone else. He doesn't skate like anyone else. He doesn't speak like anyone else. He doesn't walk down a corridor like anyone else. What makes us think he is going to be a professional skater like anyone else? Nobody panic. I say professional skater since that is the category many people are putting Yuzu into. He is going to prove that category has been reinvented into something no one has seen before. Yuzuru Hanyu, Professional Athlete. I heard you, Yuzu, and I am ready. So just keep feeling, Fanyus. Yuzu will be better than okay. We will be better than okay. And I am certain we will look back and realize we never should have had a moment of anxiety about this next stage. It is going to be beyond anything we ever could have imagined. Just like Yuzu. Since writing this post, the dress shoes Yuzu was wearing have also sold out.
完成です。
While Yuzu continues his evolution, FanyuFanme is going to take a little hiatus to do the same. It could be a month. It could be 2. It could be 6 hours if Yuzu decides to unveil Professional Athlete Yuzu sooner than later. But no matter how long the ice resurfacing, since we all know there is one really ugly logo that also has to be removed, FanyuFanme will return for every new moment, every new challenge, every new achievement, and every new nose scrunch. It is not the end of FanyuFanme because it is not the end of Yuzu. This is not his Swanyu song. During the hiatus, you can still follow FanyuFanme because you know I'm going to still have things to say on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Redbubble, YouTube, or FanyuFanme.com, where we don't know exactly what we're waiting for, but we know it's coming from Yuzu, so it will be worth it. Until next season, say it with me, Professional Athlete Yuzuru Hanyu. The FanyuFanme podcast is a Back to the Forest production.
Back to the forest? Just kidding.